This teacher is given a class of teenagers to teach dictatorship, but his unique way of teaching brings unexpected outcomes and almost shuts down the whole school. Wenger is a middle-aged high school teacher. He works at the same institute as his wife Anki, so things are pretty stable and peaceful. The project week has started, and Rainer is expecting to get the class of anarchy, as he is an expert in that. But due to his late submission of the project outline, this subject is given to someone else. Rainer tries to convince the head of department to give him another chance. No one in the school can teach anarchy better than him. The head can't do anything right now, so Rainer tries to talk with the current anarchy teacher. Rainer requests to exchange subjects, but the teacher is not willing at all. At the end, Rainer just accepts his fate and prepares to teach the opposite subject, that is autocracy. He's always excited for the project week, but the students don't take it seriously. They spend most of their time hanging out in clubs and randomly choose the subject for the project week. As Monday arrives, Rainer greets his autocracy class and gets shocked to see so many students. He would have never chosen this subject if he were in their place, but he is willing to teach them passionately. The lesson starts with a basic question: what is autocracy? Surprisingly, most of the students don't know the answer, so Rainer explains it in easy words. Autocracy comes from the Greek and means self-rule. In an autocracy, the ruler has unlimited power to change the law as he likes, which can also be referred to as dictatorship. Most of the students show lack of interest in this subject, as they believe that another dictatorship would be impossible in Germany. Rainer is ready to change their point of view within this week. He gives them a 10-minute break, and when the students return, the seating arrangement has been changed. Then he asks the students about the requirements of an autocratic system. All the students give different answers, and Rainer appreciates them all. Afterward, he says that they are going to do a small activity in which they will try forming an autocratic system in this class. Every dictatorship has a central figure, so Rainer votes to choose the leader, and the majority of students agree to let Rainer be the leader. As he is the leader now, he deserves respect. Therefore, the students must call him Mr. Wenger from now on. Moreover, no student is allowed to talk without permission. He must raise his hand and then stand up to speak. When the students call it getting too far, Rainer convinces them by explaining that standing up improves their blood circulation and concentration in lecture. He even instructs them to sit properly with their straight back and breath deeply. An upper-class student named Kevin finds the activity a little weird, and he refuses to do it. Rainer gives a choice: either play along or leave the classroom. Kevin chooses the latter and also takes away his friends Sinan and Bomber. But Bomber is already having low grades, so he joins back the class with Sinan. Rainer continues the lesson by asking about the social conditions that favor a dictatorship. A shy student named Lisa wants to answer, but she can't choose the best words. Rainer advises her to take a deep breath and keep her answer short and precise. This works, and Lisa gains more confidence. A timid boy and insecure boy named Tim also enjoys the lesson, and Rainer becomes his favorite teacher. After the lesson, students get back to their home as well as Rainer. Anki is delighted to see that Rainer is enjoying the lessons despite his hatred towards it. His words have a different impact on different students. Some literally forget it, while some are thinking really hard. The one who got influenced the most is Tim. The whole day he keeps talking about how great Rainer is. An intelligent student of the class named Caro also mentions about the discipline lessons in her house, but her parents are way too cool. They advise Caro to live recklessly, but Caro is secretly against that. She wants to get away from her family for a while and decides to go on a trip. She tells about it to her boyfriend Marco, but he doesn't seem interested and leaves to practice sports. He's a part of the school's water polo team. Marco is not doing well today because he is busy in thoughts doubting his relationship with Caro. She is a dominant person who always decides everything without even asking Marco. Meanwhile, Rainer stays up during the night to gather more fun ideas he can try with his students. The next morning, as he enters the class, he asks the students to do some light exercise. Then Rainer teaches them how to stomp in unison. As their coordination gets better, the noise gets louder. This activity will help them learn about the power of unity. Rainer playfully reminds them that their enemy, the anarchy classroom, is right under them. Realizing this, the students stomp their feet even harder. After the exercise, Rainer changes the seating arrangement once again. He puts the students with lower grades with the bright students. One of the students says it's an embarrassment to the poor students, but Rainer explains that no students are poor. Everyone is good in at least one subject, so they can help each other. During the break, Rainer is called by the principal because of the noise he caused in the morning, but a few students interrupted them because they wanted to shift to Rainer's class. The principal realizes that Rainer is grabbing students' interest, so he lets him go. Rainer continues his lesson and tells the students that unity can be encouraged with uniforms, not just in school, but also in organizations like the military or the fast food chains have a uniform. Rainer suggests they have a uniform for the project week, not anything expensive, just a pair of blue jeans and a white shirt. One of the students protests that he doesn't have white shirt and doesn't want to spend money buying it. Luckily, a kind student named Jens offers to give away one of his spare white shirts. But actually, Jens doesn't even have one and secretly buys 2 white shirts. Lisa spots him and gets impressed by Jens's big heart. However, Tim has taken the lessons too seriously and burns down all of his branded clothes because Rainer talked against the big brands. The next day, all of Rainer's students are wearing the same attire except for Caro, as she thinks she doesn't look good in white. New students join in, and Rainer is delighted to see a fully crowded classroom. He believes that they deserve a name. All the students give suggestions and Rainer writes them on the board. He let the students vote and the chosen name is The Wave. Now Rainer wants everyone to contribute to this team. He chooses a student to design a logo, while another student volunteers to create social media platforms for The Wave. Everyone gets really excited and starts discussing more ideas. They haven't realized how much team spirit they have developed. Later that day, Tim gets bullied by a bunch of drug-addicted students, but his white shirt gets spotted from afar, so Sinan and Bomber rush there to help him. Rainer's efforts are paying off and he has turned his class into a gang. But Caro keeps getting ignored because she refused to wear the dress code. Marco is also sick of her bossy nature and wishes her to become a part of The Wave. Caro isolates herself and also gets replaced from the school play. The Wave is getting stronger even outside of the school. Sinan convinces Kevin to join them again and also forces other students and even Caro's younger brother join the Wave. Lisa visits Caro and tells her about the play replacement. She also says that Caro should value Marco's opinion, as she may lose him too. Caro doesn't like that Marco is discussing their relationship with others, and she gets angry with Lisa. Poor Lisa is fed up with Caro always being the spotlight, and she ends their friendship. Later that night, Rainer tells his wife about students' efforts to promote The Wave, but Anki is not happy about this. She believes that Rainer is taking it too far and it may bring negative outcomes. She is right. The kids are getting totally obsessed with The Wave. They gather in the middle of night and paint their logo almost everywhere. They don't even spare the police cars. They also want to paint on a new famous building, but it's too high. Tim volunteers to do it and climbs up. Other students run away on seeing the police, but Tim stays behind and paints the logo. The next morning, the students also decide to have a unique salute that represents their group, and Rainer loves it too. Caro is getting more frustrated and decides to stop it, but the students don't leave inside the class without the uniform and the salute. She proceeds to talk to Rainer and requests him to think about it carefully. Rainer doesn't see any harm and advises Caro to change her subject if she doesn't like it. Rainer gets back to the staff room, but all the teachers, including Anki, seem distanced from him. Rainer goes to the principal and tries to explain that he has an educational goal. The principal is actually not against it all. She is loving how the students are developing a bond and they are so eager to come to school. She advises Rainer to ignore other teachers as they may be jealous. Meanwhile, Caro hasn't given up and asks the school newspaper team to give her the list of students' email IDs. She plans to email everyone and encourage them against The Wave. Later that night, Tim and other Wave members were hanging around when they encountered a gang of punks. The students have painted the Wave logo on the punks' artwork, which made them angry. They all start fighting, but all of a sudden, Tim pulls out a gun. The punks run away in fear, but the students are also wondering why Tim has a gun. Tim just smiles and explains that it's a fake one. The next day, Caro discusses with her friend how to stop the Wave. Suddenly, Marco walks in and invites Caro to join a party near the lake. She refuses, saying that she doesn't want to get involved with the Wave as it's getting extreme day by day. She even shows him some online posts about the Wave forcing students to join them. Marco gets frustrated as he thinks Caro is just overreacting. He doesn't want to leave the Wave. It means a lot to him because he never had a supportive family. He leaves after saying this, and Caro is alone again. But things are actually getting extreme, especially for Tim. He randomly shows up at Rainer's house and offers to be his bodyguard. Rainer tells him to just go home, but Tim explains that he doesn't have a loving family. Rainer takes pity on him and lets him stay for dinner. Later that night, Caro sneaks into the newspaper club room and tries sending out the emails. Unfortunately, it keeps giving an error. Caro changes plans and takes out prints of her article. She throws them around the school and goes back home. Meanwhile, The other students are having a party near the lake. Lisa takes this as a chance to hit on Marco and tells him that he deserves better than Caro. Their romantic moment is interrupted by Sinan as he wants to invite everyone to watch their final game against the other school's team. As Rainer is their coach, the Wave must show up to support their leader. Sinan also tells them to bring more people, but all of them must follow the dress code. The next morning, when Rainer steps out of his room, he finds Tim sitting there. The weird kid stayed there all night. Rainer advises him to be mature, and they both head to the school. The Wave members have already found the flyers Caro threw. They know she is the one behind it and asks Marco to talk to her as soon as possible. Afterwards, they go to attend the autocracy lesson. Today, Rainer is really angry as he watches news about the logos painted all over the city. He scolds the students for crossing their limits and asks them to write down what they have learned in this project week. After the class, they all head to the pool to watch the game. Cora also arrives, but the entrance is blocked. She must wear the Wave shirt to enter. Cora refuses and sneaks in through the back door. She throws around her flyers, which starts a fight. The game is dismissed, and all the blame is put on Rainer. Even her wife Anke is upset about how far he took the lesson. In frustration, Rainer shouts at Anke, and she packs her things and leaves the house. Meanwhile, Marco goes to talk to Caro, but she is determined to end the Wave. Marco gets angry and hits Caro. He immediately feels guilty and heads to Rainer's house. Marco requests him to stop this thing as the Wave is turning them into extremists. Rainer agrees and calls a meeting with his group. All the Wave members gather in the auditorium and the doors are locked. Rainer reads their feedback. All students wrote that the Wave made them equal and gave a meaning to their lives. Afterwards, Rainer announces that they can't let anyone put an end to the Wave. They are going to take over Germany. Hearing this, Marco stands up to protest, but Rainer calls him a traitor. He orders them to bring him to the stage and let the students choose the punishment. All of them start cheering up. Rainer tells them to shut up and see what they have become. They are ready to sacrifice their friend just because their leader said so. They assume themselves special and excluded others who didn't agree with them. They are manipulated by Rainer. That's how dictatorship works. Their lesson is over now, and so does the Wave. The students finally realize the whole situation and prepare to leave, but Tim pulls out his gun to stop them. Bomber walks forward as he believes that the gun is fake, but Tim shoots him. Then he points at Rainer and says that the Wave was his life. Rainer explains that if he kills him, the Wave will end without a leader. After realizing this, Tim puts down the gun, but then he suddenly shoots himself to death. The police arrive and they arrest Rainer. He quietly turns himself in and wonders where he went wrong.